Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast. I am Tyler Metcalf, joined as always by Tyler Rucker. Rucker, you went solo. You abandoned me for. I guess I abandoned you for a week. Um, Good to be back. How are you doing?
I'm better now that you're here. I'm doing good. I feel like everyone's probably in the same world. It's really tough
It's
this
not
time
great.
of the year. Like it is brutal. So everyone stay strong. We're almost getting to that point where it's like we're getting over the mountaintop. But I'm doing good. Diving into the 24 class, watching some film, getting excited about the NBA upcoming season, trying to watch a lot of those guys too. I'm doing all right. How about you, Metcalf? I'll say this: football training camp being here is saving my life because I'm just like watching that throughout the day, and I'm like, oh gosh, like just seeing all the reports, getting ready for fantasy football like everybody else out there, but also watching that with NBA stuff. It's good.
Yeah, and it's after the draft, having that exhale and that ability to be like, oh my god, okay, it's done. It was nice, but
Yes.
now it's like, all right, I need something on here. I'm starting to get the itch. I'm fiending for it. I need basketball back. Football, it's practice, it's fun. You get to get irresponsibly hyped up about your team and rookies and all that stuff, which is always a blast. But I need basketball back.
Yeah, badly. Of course, like the 24. I'm getting excited about the 24 class. I know there's a lot of questions and stuff, but I think I'm more excited for the challenge and just how much madness there's going to be. Starting like I'm excited for this episode because I'm starting to look at a lot of these returners. Everyone, spoiler alert, you probably should have seen by the title, but I'm looking at a lot of these guys and I'm intrigued. There's a world in which a lot of these guys take a huge step forward, and this gets really fun this class. But it's a big if, and we've talked a lot about it, like with No Ceilings and in the group chat, everyone's trying to get that. Everyone's itch is coming back like 2 months early this year, so it's gonna be fun. I feel like we can only kind of stay away for so much longer. So yeah, I'm excited for this one, Metcalf.
Yeah, so we're gonna dive in and draft a head-to-head starting five of our favorite returners in a hypothetical game here. But before we do that, let's just give like a kind of pie in the sky view of the 2024 class. How are you approaching it? It's constantly getting dogged on for lack of top end talent. No one really thinks there's a true or a traditional number one overall pick in this class. So we're obviously at the end of July. There's nothing going on, so it's really easy to overthink all this stuff before games actually start getting played. What is your just kind of mindset right now going into this class?
I think it's be more open minded than ever. And like that's everyone's be like, oh, well, duh. Well, it's like, no, usually you have at least 3 or 4 guys that you're like, okay, this should be in the running for the cream of the crop. Like, you know, a couple years ago, we knew it was probably going to be Paulo or Chet at the top, like going into the year. And then Jabari Smith kind of threw his hat into the ring, and Jaden Ivey had a lot of fans. Um, Even back in the day with Cade Cunningham, it was like Cade's the guy. Like I know there's shout out Rockets fans. I know you're passionate about Jalen Green, but it was like Cade's the guy. If you're getting number one, you're getting Cade. But we have been spoiled lately. Like we've had a really fun stretch of drafts.
And even going back to like the Luka Doncic draft, like
Yeah,
we've had a run here of like 5-6 years where it's been really good talent.
it's awesome. And I feel like if you go back and look at it, like it wasn't this awesome of like a streak of just like, woo, look at
No.
this. You always had that one year that was the rude awakening. I'm not quick to say it's this year. I just think like this isn't going to be a terrible class. I think everyone's like thinking, oh, it's going to be really bad. No, it's not that. It's just we don't know who's going to separate themselves at number one. It's July 27th. There's a chance that when the draft is happening next year, the first pick, we're like, I have no idea. Like it could be
Yeah.
anyone. It could be one of these 3 guys, which is really fun and exciting for us. But I think just the top names always every prospect's going to have a weakness, and the top names have more glaring questions than I'm usually more comfortable with at this point of the year. They could answer them quickly. They could have
Mhm.
outstanding seasons, and in a couple months in, we could be like, oh, it looks like he's got the early running to be the top pick. But I just have questions, and I have a lot of intrigue with returners and value in this draft, which personally I love drafts like this because I'm curious to see what front offices are going to do in the NBA. Like, are you going to trade out, or if you're a playoff contender, are you going to try to be like, oh, we'll take that pick because we might like a guy that's going to go 28th instead of, trying to pick in the lottery. I don't know. It's just going to be a really fun year for tying in both worlds and seeing the mindset around the league. What about you, Metcalf? I mean, are you getting intrigued? Are you still like, I don't know? Or are you skeptical or what?
So I always try and go into the start of the season in the high school film dive with the explicit direction of find what excites you about whatever player you're watching. And I always want to start at a high note, really build these guys up, and then start nitpicking their game and finding the weaknesses or improvement areas throughout the year. And, based on what we saw at Hoop Summit in person and, some of the tape that we've seen of these guys, it's like, okay, well, this might be a little tougher of an ask than previous years, but it's for me, it's really trying to stay in that mindset of what is exciting about this player. What is the elevator pitch for him? What gets you excited about taking him in the top 5, top 10, first round? Or why should this guy be a first round pick and no one's talking about him? So it's trying to find those areas of enjoyment, the excitement. And I think it's going to be really easy to deviate from that this year, but I think staying really disciplined with that is going to be really important. And then keeping an eye on some of these international guys and returners and upperclassmen. I think this is a really, really good year where teams could find a sophomore or a junior or a senior or an international guy who's taken a leap. And some other teams may not value quite as much because they might be a year or two older than some of the freshmen who theoretically have more upside. But then you have this 20, 21, maybe 22-year-old who's taken this massive leap and is ready to go from day one. So I think there will be some really interesting value kind of outside of the top couple picks. At this point, based on what we've seen, I would be surprised if there is that, true number one overall talent. But this last decade or so, we've gotten really spoiled with talent, and that's not what most draft cycles are like. So it'll be really interesting to see the different boards throughout the space, throughout the community. There's going to be so much variance that comparing boards to one another, comparing mock drafts to one another, and comparing and contrasting intel, it's going to be a fascinating year. But I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to find kind of slept on value in some players who end up really overperforming where they're currently projected.
It's a year in which, like, anyone's on the table. Like,
Yeah.
I'm that's what's the most that's why I keep saying, like, when I did the solo episode, I was kind of trying to push that. I was like, be open-minded this year more than ever. Like, you could find anyone. And I really do think we're going to look at a point, and for everyone confused, like, this is why I still don't believe this is going to be a bad class. There's going to be depth. There's going to be intriguing talent over. I'm really excited about this international class. Last year we had about 6.
Yeah.
I've got like 20 names, and I'm still adding right now that I'm just like, this could be a big wave of talent. I'm not saying they're going to be top 3 guys, but it could be some really good talent pulling from overseas. The returners, there's some guys that could take huge leaps and all of a sudden just skyrocket. There's really exciting names we're going to talk about. And I think that the thing I'm getting at with the top picks and why I'm just a little skeptical, like Ron Holland, we saw him at Nike Hoop Summit.
Yep.
We've talked about him on pods, but for everyone, we'll just throw it a little refresher. Like, the whole week of practice, I was like, man, number 1 pick? I don't know. I don't see it. Then we saw 2 scrimmages, 3 scrimmages, or whatever in a game. And those games in the scrimmages, completely different player. Light switch went on. I was like, oh, here we go. He's a gamer. Just didn't look good in practice. He's a gamer. If I could get Ron Holland in a normal year at like 8 or 9, I'd be so pumped. I'd be very excited. Taking him at 1 or 2, I'd have questions. And it's just, that's where it's at, where it's like, I love Ron Holland's talent. I think he could be a real unique weapon with his versatility at the next level, even if the shot doesn't come around to be like a threat. And he's high motor. He plays tough. He has got good defensive potential. It's just you usually get excited about those guys when you're getting them towards the end of the top 10 instead of getting them at 1 or 2. So long way to go. I love that he's going to the G League. I think
I think
that's going to be great.
I think that's huge for him. I just sticking on him specifically since you brought him up. I adore that he's going to the G League instead of Texas, because you look at what the G League did for a guy like Leonard Miller, and someone with his athletic tools, his work rate, his effort level, his motor. And you kind of see a lot of that in Ron Holland with much more further developed defensive capabilities. And it's like, okay, are they going to be able to really draw out the very most of his offensive potential and really start realizing what we hope that could grow into? And I think for a guy like that, I think the G League is the best spot that he could possibly go into to really maximize his stuff. Would he put up better numbers and, be the guy at Texas? Probably. Is it going to be tougher for him in the G League? Yes. But do I think he's going to get a lot better and learn and be put in situations to grow and expand his game and improve upon his current weaknesses? Absolutely.
I just thought of something while you were talking. And maybe it's going to solve everyone's headache with this class. There might not be a number one option in this class.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone like, what are you talking? There might not be a player you draft that is going to be a number one option on your team in this draft, which is fine. You might get some stud second or third options that really get the engines cooking for your franchise. But I think that's where everyone is like, there's not going to be a potential Anthony Edwards find. I think there's just a lot of guys that could be really exciting. Like, oh, that's our number 2 or 3 guy. This is great. This is fun. But
yeah,
that's going to scare some people, which I don't think it should. It's just, this might be a class where you're getting really good pieces. You're getting a fun addition to what you've been developing, and that's fine.
Yeah, and I think some of those really talented long-term NBA starters could come from this returners class.
Right.
So let's move into this draft. Let's have a little bit of fun. We're going to mix it up. Just go back and forth, draft a starting 5 that, will theoretically play each other. So I think we're going to try and model it around taking guys that make sense to build the best team possible, but also make sense for the 2024 draft.
Okay, so sense? Are we making a team, or am I just picking 5 guys? Like, do I got to go by positions?
No, I mean, you can go positionless. I mean, if you want 4 centers out there, let's craft it like we're actually making a team. So we're not building a big board. We're pretend that we're going to put these teams in 2K and face off.
Okay, my philosophy is completely different. I thought I was just picking 5 names. Okay.
Oh no, that's
no, that's fine. Okay, well, do you want me to have first pick, or you have first pick?
Yeah, as your reward for holding down the fort the other week, I will give you first pick.
Okay. I was like, oh, I know who I'm taking easily, and then now I'm gonna. Oh, this is gonna be just
well, and just listeners, before you freak out or anything, when we don't select DJ Wagner or Ron Holland or any of those guys, this is specifically returners. So sophomore, junior, senior plus 2. That's it.
Yeah, freshman not allowed.
Correct.
Donovan Clingan, I'm taking him. Yeah, I gotta start it off with a hot note. Really excited to see the UConn big man this year. He's got all the chances to be a guy that gets into that top 7. If everything cooks, if the added playing time comes together, I'm sure he's going to show up in great shape. If we get teased with the outside shot, which it sounds like that was the hope going into the offseason, there's a world in which he really gets up there, because I just think he's got the size, he's got the mobility, he's got the touch, he's got a lot of really fun tools, and I'm sure he's going to have some analytics fans, some front offices that are going to probably be beating the drum for him. So everything's lining up for Donovan to just keep creeping up, and sure there's going to be an article at one point like, why not Donovan at 1? Which, if he could produce and replicate what he just did, but with a crazy amount of playing time, yeah, absolutely. I could see that being a bit of a hot take right now. So I'll take him, put him in the middle. We're gonna feed him. He
Yeah,
also might be Bryant Reeves reincarnated, which is just great. It's fantastic. Yes.
No, I love that pick. He was very high on my board. If not one, probably two. Um, his year is going to be fascinating because his advanced numbers last year, especially at the end of the year, were bonkers impressive, and a big reason why a lot of people had him first round, top 20, even lottery in some cases. But playing 12 to 15 minutes a night is very different than playing 30 to 35. So I know extrapolating those numbers in a lot of cases can be really predictive and useful, but extrapolating it and doing it are two very different things. Do I think that he has the capabilities and potential to do that? Absolutely. Am I rooting for it? Absolutely. I just want to see it. I want to see the improved conditioning. I want to see him maintain the weight loss and conditioning improvements that he made from high school into his freshman year and carry that over into an even bigger level into his sophomore year. He's going to be the guy there. And just, I cannot wait to see how dominant he potentially can be in that UConn system.
Yeah, well, him and Castle should be unbelievable.
Oh God, that's gonna be
together. Like it's just that's what everyone is forgetting. Like everyone's married to these names right now, and it's like no, there's names that are going to start popping up and getting really excited. And so I'm really excited for that pairing this year. It's gonna be fun. All right, Metcalf, who's leading your generals, or who's your number one selection?
Okay, so you already got size. I would be surprised if you went with another center, so I think I can wait on that. I'm going to go point guard. I'm going to go with the guy who I had top 35 all year.
I knew it.
I'm going Tyrese Proctor.
I love me some preseason footage of Tyrese Proctor, but tell me, could he get into the top
10? He's probably going to be top 10, top 14 to start the year for me. But if the shooting consistency's there, the game really slows down for him, like it looked like it was towards the end of last season, continues to improve as a playmaker. The defense takes another step. I definitely think that in this class, I don't think top 10's that ridiculous for him.
I mean, I couldn't be more excited for him. I feel like I just really, really think there's a world in which everything comes together and it's just like, oh my goodness, he looks fantastic. They're going to have a little bit of a very fun backcourt there at Duke. So it's going to be fun to kind of see what's going on for the year. Obviously, Tyrese Proctor, Jared McCain, Caleb Foster, I'm getting a little intrigued with. So I just think Tyrese has shown some stuff. This is another guy that everything's lining up for him to be a very popular name. He's got the size. He's got the upside. He's young. I'm very excited for him. I'm right there with you. He's going to be top 20 for me easily. I imagine he's going to be in my lottery preseason.
Yeah, and I think some of the backcourts that Duke runs could be really interesting because I do think Proctor has the size and ability to kind of play off ball some too. We were both have been really impressed with Jared McCain this year, and I think he has a lot of point guard upside in his game. So I love the idea of playing them together. Caleb Foster has really good size. I'm really hoping that Jeremy Roach and Jalen Blakes don't get 30 minutes a night, even though they're gonna, and they'll drive us insane. But I definitely think this is kind of gonna be Proctor's show to run, at least to start the year. And if he lives up to what I think he could, I think he's in for a big year.
The good one. Okay. Who am I picking next? I'm gonna take my boy Trey Alexander.
No, your boy.
Yeah.
You fraud.
I'm telling you, come on.
Yeah,
my boy.
Oh my God. Fuck out of here.
I love Trey. Come on. I love Trey. You were early on it, but I could buy some more stock. I could get on that bandwagon this year. There's some names on my list that I was, I'm intrigued with their upside this year, but I need something safe. I need a little bit of a gamer. So I'm getting Trey Alexander in the backcourt. I'm excited. Another guy I'm really excited to see this year. I feel like he got some late buzz, some good attention that needed was like, oh, hey, Trey Alexander should be a little bit more in the conversation. We talked about it for the 23 draft process where like, hey, Kobe Buffkin was sensational, but Trey Alexander's numbers were right up there. Now this is his year that you need to go be a killer. Like you need to go out and put up big numbers, take another step forward and be efficient again. And I think there's a world in which, we're talking about him as a top 20 pick. I really do. I just think he needs to have a big year. But if he does, it would not shock me with his size, his measurables, kind of the versatility he has. I could see him getting up there. So he's definitely one of the top returners on my list to keep an eye on this year.
Same. I had almost or fringe first round grade on him before he withdrew last year. Why didn't he get the love that some of us at No Ceilings were giving him all year? Because his advanced numbers were awesome. His production was consistent and really impressive all year. The defensive stuff was really good. The shooting improved. The ball handling improved. The playmaking improved. What was it?
I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those every year. It seems like there's a guy that doesn't get enough buzz or doesn't really move the needle at the time of the year in which you need to start making a little bit of momentum. And Trey just seemed like a guy that there wasn't that much going. So at one point, I feel like he came down to the deadline of like, okay, are you in or out? And he decided to go back. And I was like, that's a good decision because, Creighton had a weird year last year. Preseason, we were all like, oh man, Creighton's going to be a juggernaut. And then they just had they looked okay. Then I think Kalkbrenner got hurt and then they were all over the place. They couldn't figure out what to do. And then he came back, they started rolling again, made a little bit of a run towards the end of the year. So I think they just get back. Trey, has a good year. Kalkbrenner's going to be there. Shireman, make it simple. They had a lot of mouths to feed last year. And now I feel like it's getting a little simplified with Kaluma going to Kansas State. So I'm just excited for Trey. I think he's going to make some momentum. Still a young player. I loved what he did in the tournament. He's just a smart player that seems to make a bunch of big time shots where it's just we're going up against the 6-0 run right now. We need a bucket. And he just come down, hit a jumper where it's it doesn't look like much, but it's it stops the bleeding. And he just seems to always make a play. I'm a big fan of his game.
Same. And, I'm going to have nightmares about him being your guy. Quote unquote.
My boy.
You fraud. Okay. I'm going to go with the guy who we both were very out on last year, but had about as worse of a year that you could possibly imagine, thanks to some really stellar NCAA legislation.
Dude, I was trying to steal this pick.
He looked so goddamn good in FIBA a couple weeks ago. Baba Miller, welcome to the squad.
I thought I was going to go 3 for 3, and I was going to be like, you could pick the rest of my team. Gosh, he looks so good. If that's the name, that's okay, it might be really happening. Yeah, he looked awesome. I've watched some of those games and I'm just like, this is a different human. This is much more confident. It's amazing. I'm excited for Baba. I just NCAA, what are you doing? But last year was a nightmare. And I feel like where are they playing? Was it playing Clemson or Syracuse? I think it was Clemson. But I watched one game of his and I was like, he didn't have the best box score, but when I was watching it, I was like, I see it. I know where this is. I understand it now. Now I just need you to have the dream off season. And then I was like, oh gosh, he's going to play FIBA. This is going to be great. It's going to be him restarting the confident train. And then, he looked great on, I'm so excited to watch him this year. Just let him run wild.
Yeah.
Give me a number. Where could you see him getting? Top 10?
Oh yeah.
Easily.
If he shoots 35% from 3, and if he does that and just kind of plays a similar kind of style that he did in FIBA, where the big thing with him that looked different, night and day different when he was playing FIBA compared to FSU. In this FIBA U19 tournament, he looked composed, he looked measured in the half court where he knew what to do. He was cutting,
Yes.
he was moving the ball, he wasn't sticking with them. At Florida State in the previous year before he came over, it was basically transition or bust with him. And when he was in the open court, he was skilled, he was fun, he was athletic, but in the half court, the ball died when it got to him. The shot wasn't good enough. His decision making was slow. His off ball movement was always a step or two late. And now it was all just, it felt natural to him. And he was figuring out ways to make a consistent impact in the half court. So if he carries that over, rebounds the way that I think he can, defends the way that he looked there, that he was in U19. And he has all the athletic tools, all the physical tools. And then if he shoots it at just an average level, why wouldn't you take that 6'11" power, or that 6'11" forward in the top 10?
I definitely think there's a world in which he's easily getting in the top 10. I think you're spot on. That was the biggest thing watching him in those games. I was like, he knows where to be now.
Yeah.
Which like he just looked like a lost soul at Florida State, which is understandable. Like after the NCAA just basically ruined a full year of his, like he just came in and was just like, okay, what? And then FIBA, I was like, oh gosh. And that's the biggest thing too, is that's going to make his life so easy now because he's going to be like, oh, I can cut and dunk on everyone, or I can get all these easy points. So like, he looks like he's just going to be unleashed, and I'm really pumped for a full season. It's not like a guy I'm expecting like beginning of the year, like, oh, Baba's dropping 20.
Yeah.
I just think like it could be like by the end of the year, it's like, oh, Baba had 22 and 8 assists or something, just where you're like, everything's really
Or a
clicking.
whole bunch of games where it's 9 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks. It's like,
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
And with his size, his rawness, his upside, and I do think the shot is coming along in a positive direction.
There were stretches in FIBA where when it was one fluid motion, it went in every time. But when he would bring it up and then launch it like a catapult, it's like, oh, what is that? So there's still some inconsistencies there. But like you were saying, it's definitely taken steps from where it was, because I didn't buy it at all before. And then it looks like there's been improvements where I'm at least like, oh, okay, maybe there is something here.
He's the curveball. He is the absolute curve. Like, it would not shock me if we get to a point early on where like Baba hits the ground running and we're like, hey, he's in the top 5. Like it just, the tools, the length, the upside, the rawness, the potential that will still be like, teams will be like, it's not, this is, we still have levels of his game to unlock where it's just like, that's the one everyone's going to get excited about. Absolutely. But a lot of stuff needs to go right, and it would have to go right very fast, which it could happen. A strong camp goes into a strong preseason, never know. So
yeah, and I pitched this name to you last season, but I really need him to be good so we can get the nickname Baba Yaga to stick. It's just, it's perfect.
It'd be unbelievable. So, okay.
Who you got third?
So you've got Tyrese Proctor and Baba Miller. I've got Klingon and Trey Alexander. I'm going to get Trey a running mate. I'm going to take Riley Kugel.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun with that backcourt. Really pumped to see Kugel this year. Getting a lot of buzz from his last kind of stretch of the season with Florida. And I thought it was the smartest thing he's ever done when he said, I'm going back. Because I was like, now you've got everyone buzzing about you, and go work your ass off for an off season and things could get really, really fun. It's just one of those talents where like, I think some people were like, why didn't he declare last year? And I was like, because scouts watched the whole year. NBA teams watched the whole year, and they would have been pre-drafting him if he declared. And the whole year, it was just nothing much, flashes, and then caught fire at the end of the season.
Yep.
But it was a small sample. So if you go and do that now with his size, I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". If you go do that now, it's going to be a really, really fun development. So it's another guy that we're saying, like, if things start going right and he takes a big step, then there's another name that gets this class really cooking. So I'm just intrigued with him, and I'm very pumped. My team has 2 beasts in the backcourt.
Yeah, and I really like that he decided to go back to school for another year, just because with guys like that, when it's not uncommon to have a scorching hot final month or so, and then work your way into the first round. But with the depth of the first round in this year's class, I think being able to guarantee yourself to be a top 30 pick off of just really 4 to 6 weeks tops of really, really high level consistent play, that's a big gamble. That's a really, really big gamble. And with the lack of depth and uncertainty of this class, he has a real chance to come out, build off of what he showed at the end of last year, and be one of the most dominant scoring guards in the country. And he has the tools for it. He has the athleticism for it. I'm really hoping that he can kind of piece it together, because that's going to be really fun. Quick question. Are you just not running a point guard?
No, I said I'm going to have 2 guards. Trey plays
Okay.
the point.
Nah.
He played it for Creighton. We've got size in the
No.
backcourt. Come on, give me a break.
Okay.
I mean,
God.
now it just, you need to be a guard
Just
and you can run the
offensive
offense.
flow. Oh my
No,
God.
Trey can run it, and then Kugel's my explosive force. I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Compared to the other options, I really love it. Oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that because I should have drafted somebody. Okay, I had to add somebody else to my list. Go ahead.
Oh well, now I was locked in on a name, but now I'm trying to figure out who I can snipe from you. Okay, I'm a big believer in chemistry. You have a monster in the middle. I want to add a little more size, but also add some floor spacing. I'm going Kyle Filipowski.
Oh, that was a good one. I was trying to think of if I've tried to play him at the 4.
That's what I'm doing.
So, rumor on the street is Filipowski gained a bunch of weight. Weight gain season is here. So I'm intrigued to see, is he just buying into being a bruiser, or are we still getting floor spacing Filipowski now with just a little bit more girth?
I'm not sure I love that for him, because I never really questioned the strength.
Well, I feel like I don't know. I don't know if it was, fake or something, but I feel like he commented on a post of Chet Holmgren's and was like, "Oh, it's not that hard to gain weight. I gained blah 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 in one season," and I wanted to be like, "Are we sure that's great?" But I am really pumped to see Filipowski this year, because I think there is a world where if his outside shot is more efficient, he gets his name into that mix of being like, "Hey, I'm 7-footer that plays really hard and I can space the floor." I get it. And he's got playmaking vision. But we'll see. I'm just intrigued to kind of see what, a bigger version of Filipowski mindset is. So I don't know. But I like him.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Duke's roster right now. They're going to play him full time at starting center.
They've got it, right?
I mean, Ryan
Sean
Young,
Stewart's in the back, or is the backup?
Yeah,
he's not playing center.
6'9". Ryan Young will play backup minutes. Stanley Borden and Spencer Hubbard. Spencer Hubbard's a guard who's listed at 5'8", so he's going to get big minutes here.
That's why we do that in July.
But yeah, I mean, Filipowski's now listed at 248 on Duke's website. The number I have down for him for last season was 230.
Yeah, so almost 20 pounds.
So okay, well, so I guess they're going to be playing him full-time center, which I guess makes sense given their roster. But I'm not sure I love that long-term for him in terms of bulking up, and it'll be interesting to see if that really affects the shot, because if he can't shoot it, then it's like, oh, okay. But I'm banking on the lean, agile Kyle Filipowski coming into the squad and shooting the lights out. So sticking with it.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm still a fan of his. I still think he's gonna have a good year and
Same.
be in the
He'll
mix.
be he'll be fringe top 20 to start the season for me, maybe probably in that 20-25 range. If the shot really starts falling, then that's where things get scary for him.
I didn't want him to declare last year.
Yes.
I wanted him to go back and have a better year and work some things, and then I'm gonna get really excited about him. So I'm right on track. Mission accomplished. Okay, so to review, I've got Riley Kugel, Trey Alexander, and Donovan Klingen. In the middle, you've got Proctor, Baba, and Filipowski. So far, some pretty fun teams. But now we're gonna get this gets weird. I want to add another. I'm gonna add. I want to take someone, but it just doesn't make sense from a team construction perspective. So I'm going to take a guy that I think is going to shock some people and have a really good year. I'm going to take Trevon Brazil and put him next to Klingen. I think Brazil's going to be a better floor spacer this year, more consistent. I think the defense will come around. I think he's going to be motivated. I think that's a guy that teams would get intrigued with, like the value of, oh, we can maybe go get Trevon Brazil, and that's a smart player to add to our rotation. I'm just excited about him. I thought last year he was really intriguing me, and I thought, like, hey, this is a guy that maybe the second half of the season starts to put this together in a more consistent rate and then get exciting in NBA circles. But I'm excited to watch him this year.
Yeah, and it'll be fascinating to see what his athleticism looks like after the injury, because his rim running and shot blocking was a big selling point, along with the floor spacing. And once he went down, we saw what that did to Arkansas spacing and how clogged up that entire offense got, because they didn't have any other shooters other than him, really. So I think he could be in for a big year. The shot really needs to, even if it's just what it was before he got hurt last year, I think that's going to be more than good enough. My big thing with him is I don't love the defense a whole lot.
Yeah.
It felt very, I'm just going to chase every block and I'm going to be a step late on every rotation. But just looking at your team here, playing him alongside Klingen, and then he's just purely that secondary or weak side rim protector, not the primary guy. I think there's some upside there. So
thank you.
With Brazil, where do you kind of see him peaking at this year if everything goes right? Or what type of player does that look like?
I mean, if you're talking about, like, let's say he takes a big step defensively, and I did like his shot blocking. I was intrigued with it, but I'm saying he takes a step more as like a more well-rounded defensive prospect with some upside. And then the three ball comes around and he's a pick and pop threat. I mean, that's enough intrigue to get exciting. And then if his athleticism is kind of what it was looking like it was going to be after that injury still, yeah, I would get pumped about that. That would just be a guy that if I was a team and I'm drafting him and, I'm getting out of the lottery and I'm like, hey, we know what he's going to be. And that's a guy that teams look for. Like Leonard Miller, as me and you were just so confused. They're like, where's the fit? And after watching him at Summer League, I was like, this is the guy teams always want to find as a free agent. Like they never want to draft him because they're scared to do it. But then when he's a free agent, they drool over it. And I just think like Brazil could be that type of guy where it's like, hey, he's smart, plays tough, offers some defensive upside, and he could shoot it. Yeah, absolutely. I would get on board with that. So I'm just excited. I think he's the one name that's like, hey, we're going to have to remember about him because the injury last year sucked, but I'm excited to see what he can do with a full season, hopefully, when he's healthy.
Okay. We're going to move on to my fourth pick, and I'm going to kind of keep that theme of positional size. But I really, really want to add some floor spacing, some guaranteed floor spacing. I'm going to go Tucker DeVries.
I was thinking about taking him and just saying, screw it, we're playing him at the 3.
Oh, is that the one that you were like, it doesn't make sense?
No, I was going to take somebody else that I think you're still going to take, so I don't want to say it out loud. Why can't Tucker make some noise this year?
I mean, he could, he should. I think he will.
Like, who's the shooters?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, the knock with him is always going to be that he plays at Drake, and it's going to be competition. And I know how we feel about that. And shout out Maxwell, who was on the DeVries train going back to a full calendar year plus now. But I mean, just looking at some of his synergy stuff, I mean, 81st percentile spot up shooting, 97th percentile pick and roll ball handler, 85th percentile in transition, 77th percentile all jump shots, 92nd percentile on dribble jumpers. The kid can play, and he's big. And I think there's that size gives him some rebounding and defensive juice that other pure or other pure shooters aren't afforded. So I think he's in for a big year. I imagine that he'll probably be in my preseason top 30. And it wouldn't shock me by any means if he ends up being a first round pick next year.
He's going to be a junior, but he will be turning 21 in December. So a little younger. He's listed at 6'7", 210, averaged 18.6 points on shooting splits of 44, 37, 83. And when I watched those games, he had to do a lot of lifting offensively.
Everything.
So that 37
add
would be
a couple,
like 45.
Yeah, add a couple percent to those averages when he's not the end all be all.
But like, here's my thing is I have my database. I'm going through all of this. I'm adding names every day. I've got way too many names for this time of the year, but hey, that's we keep pushing forward. And like every draft class, every year you get excited because you're like, there's going to be a couple of guys that could light the net on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be at the top of the list if you have that conversation. If you're just talking about guys that could just get
shooters,
yeah, he might be at the top of the list. So that's a big card to put on the poker table. Like if Tucker's like, hey, I got size, but I also might be the best shooter in the class. A lot of things can happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like,
still,
I'm just running through some of these returners, and I might spoil a couple picks here, but whatever. I mean, in terms of just being a better shooter, you got guys like Matthew Morrell, Jalen Forbes, Aaron Estrada, Caleb Love, like Zurich Phelps, JJ Starling. I'm not convinced any of these guys are better shooters than Tucker.
I'm even looking at the freshmen. I mean, there's some guys at Ohio State that might do some stuff this year, but I'm just saying Tucker's going to be in that conversation.
Yeah. And
like if he goes and shoots
6'7",
48, 42, 88. I love how I just throw those numbers out like that's normal. But I mean, seriously, like you never know. So I think that's a great pick. I'm really excited about him. I think that's the name where like I've seen some preseason boards and I was like, come on, there's like lethal shooter. Like, come on, remember Tucker. So I like him. I'm excited to see what he can do with another year.
And being 6'7" compared to 6'4" makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. So, I mean, are you putting him at? Yeah, you're putting him at 2.
Yep. Okay. And then I'll let him do some second side creation stuff too, and let Proctor spot up as well.
I need a 3. The list is just getting annoying. I don't know. I'm trying to see. This is why I can't stand. Gosh, there's so many names that I just. You know what? I'll do. I'm gonna take Kevin McCullough, put him at 3. I don't care. I need a dog who could play defensively, versatile, a grown up in the huddle. I'm gonna get Kevin McCullough, my knight in shining armor. There's some other names I was considering, and I'll wait until after your pick and say some names that I was considering. But I do like McCullough. I'm excited for another guy that, hey, just some team be smart next year and take him at a point. I just love he could play any position. So
I adore McCullough. I think he's been one of the best, if not the best defender or team defender in college basketball for a while now. Just incredibly smart, really good passer. If I just am begging him, just please be able to make corner threes. That's it. Just
if he makes corner threes, he's getting drafted 100%. Like
I would have drafted him this year for what it's
I would have
worth, but I think teams would have. But
no, I think teams would have drafted him for sure. He's gonna get drafted. If he, I'm like you. If he goes, someone should have grabbed him this offseason and said, just go shoot corner threes the whole. Like you have to shoot 1,000 corner threes a day, and he'll get drafted.
Yeah.
Probably higher than people think because he's nasty defensively. He makes game-winning plays. He literally can guard 3 positions. He's a relentless rebounder. The more I talk about it, the more I love this pick. So there you go.
So who is he? Is he guarding Baba? Is he guarding? You throwing him on Tucker? Point of attack.
He's guarding everyone. No, I mean I would probably put him on Baba.
Ooh,
Baba's got some size on him, but Kevin's like, "Hey, come on!"
He's gonna get low, take his legs out.
Yeah, I'm not scared of you. No, but I mean, I think it's one of those points. Like, there's a lot of names that I'm looking at on my list that I could have put there. I'm excited. I'll let you go first, and then you finish off your team, and then we could say some other names.
All right.
Yeah, who are you gonna shock me with? Just do it.
What I'm curious, which one do you think I'm going to go with?
Well, I have to hear it.
I'm just going to make sure that you never grab a rebound. I'm going to Dembona.
I do it. I've wanted to do it the whole time. I wanted to take it instead of Brazil, and I was like, I can't put Bona and Clingan together.
No, that'd be tough.
I almost put Edey and Clingan on the same team, but I figured like that would have been illegal. I couldn't. Let's talk about Bona.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I've heard he's like still been banged up all off season. That's not great. Me excited, but I still think he could be a top 20 pick for sure.
And he's going to be in my top 20 to start the year.
He
was almost in my top 20 this year, or this last draft before he withdrew. His defensive stuff is just bonkers. It's so good. Every area of the floor, he is more than comfortable and capable of defending. I get that he's not this offensive phenom. He's never going to shoot it. But I do think as the year went on, he showed some face-up stuff, some rip-through, some cut, the ability to rim run. And with a guy like that, I think that's all you really need. You don't need him to be this focal point offensive center. It's not who he is. You don't need him to be that, but he can be your defensive cornerstone and then be just a garbage man on offense and clean up around the rim and finish the easy stuff and provide that vertical spacing and keep the defense honest. So I like his fit on this team with the, size I have across the board with the spacing of Filipowski. I think he's going to make Clingan really work for everything. But even just going into this year, coming back to reality, I think there's a real chance that he's the best defensive center for me, at least again, for the second year in a row.
I absolutely love him. Is there, how do I say this without making it sound wrong? Like, do you need to see that much growth offensively to feel great about him? Or is it just like if he's a little bit more consistent and dominant and the numbers are better, if he looks like the game's slowing down? Like, I don't know if I'm with Bona, if I'm like, and people might take this the wrong way, but I don't know if I'm like, I need to see Bona develop a post game. No, I don't. He's never going to be drafted for that.
No.
I need him to play with his hair on fire, play extended minutes, average a double-double,
Yeah.
and
stay
block
healthy.
every shot alive. And if he could keep doing the chase down blocks where he like spikes it into the 8th row, that's probably my favorite thing to like watch on film. I get so excited. Like it's a freight train coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's like he just imagines. I think you used this clip before, or you used this quote before. It's like he imagined the other player insulted his mother. Like he just runs people down.
Yes.
Like it's like he hates them. So I love Bona. He's gonna be my lottery preseason. You're not drafting Bona for offense. You're drafting him to be a terrorizing threat around the basket.
Right. And what he did show on offense last year was that kind of ability to duck in from the dunker spot, offensive rebound, rim run. If he can do that a little more effectively and a little more consistent this year, that's all I really want from his offense. If he also shows off a 10 to 12 foot face up jumper, awesome. I love it. I'll take it, but I don't need it. Because the whole selling point with him is the defense. It's the energy, the defense, the rebounding. No one's ever going to draft him to be an offensive focal point. So if he never develops that, while it'd be nice, I don't think it's a game breaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I got a fun little wrinkle.
Sure.
We get one undrafted free agent. So you get one more pick.
Oh, like a 6-man?
Yeah, sure, fine. 6-man.
Okay.
Well, 6-man actually makes this a little bit more interesting. Okay, what do I need? Okay, I'll let you go first.
Oh, well, no, because that throws off the draft order.
Okay, fine.
I'm assuming you're just gonna go 80 now.
No, who don't want to have to bench? Yeah, maybe this was a bad idea by me.
I have a point guard that I know that you would just adore.
Am I gonna do something that is gonna haunt me for the rest of the month?
Probably.
I'm gonna oh gosh. I'm gonna just say screw it. And no.
Do it, you coward.
I'm gonna take Judah Mintz. It hurt to say out loud. Mick, I'll be serious. We had some questions with him last year. I'm excited to see what Judah can do this year.
So am I. I'm not laughing at Judah, the player. I'm laughing just at.
I looked at it. I scrolled past his name 4 times and just kept looking at it. And I was like, oh, I got to do it. So, yeah, I'm going to take Judah. I'm excited to see what Syracuse does. I'm excited with him and JJ Sterling. I think Syracuse could actually be fun this year to watch.
They're going to play zone again, aren't they?
Are they? I haven't read. Just hate that. I take back everything. No, I'm still excited, but Judah's got some buzz too going. I think he's got the red carpet, or if everything clicks, he should be making some noise too. So I'm excited to see what he can do. So there you go. Who do you got? Go ahead.
Okay. I'm torn between a couple names here. But I think I want a little veteran leadership. I think I want an adult in the room. I think I want an awesome point of attack defender. I'm going Reese Beekman.
That's just a smart pick. That's a smart pick. I was shocked Reese didn't go out, but
I'm not. I know, kind of smaller. I hope he just really shoots at a consistent level all year.
Yeah. He should have a fun year.
Hopefully.
But he should have a fun year.
He's just one of those guys that knows how to play.
Yes.
Really good defender, not a high-level passer, which is kind of tough at the point guard spot. But the shots improved.
Yeah.
No, he's a good passer. It's the high level playmaking stuff where he doesn't turn it over. Like, he's like most Virginia guards. He doesn't turn it over, but he doesn't pass guys open. He keeps the ball moving. The decision making's quick. He rarely makes the wrong play, but does he have the ability to elevate an offense? And I'm not sure we've seen that yet.
Agree. Any names that you were considering? I thought about Mark Mitchell for a bit, thought about your boy KJ Adams.
KJ Adams was, not number one in my heart, but I just couldn't go
So
there.
Iguodaro, I thought of. Zarek Phelps, I'm still so intrigued with. Terrence Arsenault, Walter Clayton, Malik
Jaden
Reneau,
Bradley, JJ Starling.
Yeah.
Cliff Omarui, Dylan Jones, friend of the program.
Oh, I should have thrown. I'm a little excited with AJ Mitchell this year.
Okay. Talk to me. Why?
Just started watching him a little bit more. About 6'5", lefty, a little shifty. Shot looks better than the numbers might say, but averaged 16 a game last year with 5 assists, 50% from the field, 26% from three, but 81% from the line. I'm just watching a little bit of him. He's just a little smooth, shifty. So one of those guys after the J-Dub year where I watched him at Santa Clara, I'm like more intrigued now with finding those guys. So I'm like, yeah, I'll watch the big names later, but I like the returners. I'm a sucker for returners. I love the guys that keep working on their games. So yeah, AJ Mitchell's in my conversation.
I think Aaron Estrada at Alabama is another one to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Real loved his year at Hofstra. Really shifty, really creative playmaker, scorer, shooter. The defense was non-existent, but I think he's going to be an immense amount of fun in that Alabama offense.
We didn't say Khalil Ware. If Khalil Ware clicks, I'm going to be foaming at the mouth for the draft cycle. Like, I will be so pumped if all of a sudden all it took was him getting out of Oregon, which, will also be a scary development for a player that I'm loving that's going to work.
Just a couple of other names. Walter Clayton going to Florida.
Yep.
Some of the Ohio State kids, Bruce Thornton, Roddy Gale, Felix Okpara. They have a couple freshmen coming in.
That's who I should have had, but no, it's okay. I had to give McCullough some love. I love me Roddy Gale. You're on the Roddy Gale train, right?
Oh, come on. Who do you think is conducting it?
Please? Yes. Love me some Roddy Gale. Scotty Middleton, freshman, but everyone buckle up.
Yeah. And then I think the two Tulane guys, Kevin Cross and Jalen Forbes, two others to keep an eye on.
Anything else? Any life updates? Any exciting updates moving forward? What are you looking forward to? Are your Lions going to be good this year? Everyone wants to talk football now.
I hope so. Just finished up my second last semester for MBA, so got a month off. Really going to get gross diving into the 2024 freshman now.
When are you done? When are you done?
December.
We're going to need to throw a celebration. December. Wow.
December.
Okay. Wow. We're going to need to throw a celebration.
I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So almost done with that. As people are listening to this, I'm probably closing on my house and moving, which is just horrifying. But
everyone has to understand just the mental torture we go through. Like, I love no ceilings. I love the draft. I love doing this. At the end of the draft cycle, I'm always like, my brain is mush. It has been reinvented. Like, basically a blowtorch has just been sprayed to it. So then we get excited for like the off season. And I know Metcalf was in the same boat as me from conversations we had off air, and all their guys at No Ceilings. You were just worn out. We've been working our ass off. So the off season, I'm always like, cool, I get to relax. And I feel like me and you have just been, and Corey and some other guys have just been smothered with adult life stuff all in 1 month. And it's just been like, oh gosh, like you at the
And,
house and school and
well, and
brutal.
then 4 of us got married this last season. It's been a big year for
Yeah.
behind the scenes for the No Ceilings crew.
I don't know how we're alive, but we're here.
You just kind of have to keep moving forward so your body doesn't recognize that it needs to shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the healthy way to approach it. What about you? Anything?
No,
No,
nothing.
just-
Wait, new car. Had to trade in my truck. Was basically a month of talking to. It was unbelievable, that process. Went to a dealership. They delivered the wrong car. I
Perfect.
said goodbye. Went to a different dealership. Took like 2 weeks to find the car. Then they came out with new deals, and I was like, no, I want a newer car. Finally got the car. Just brutal. I was literally dealing with that while at Summer League. Just yeah, a lot of like 15 other developments, but I'll announce those when the time's right. Until then, I'm just really grinding for year 3. I'm kidding. I'm doing dangerous stuff behind the scenes. We're very excited. So
Very excited.
I don't think I can do much more of like this waiting period. So we might just have to open up the floodgates for No Ceilings a month or two early. So
Yeah,
I got
I mean,
Metcalf.
we always got ideas cooking, and I'm sure we'll do something during the FIBA World Cup, and
Yes,
that's coming soon. So at least we'll have something.
We should do that.
But Rucker, this is a blast as always. Once again, I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me on Twitter at TMetcalf11. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. You can find all of our written work at NoCeilingsNBA.com. It's 100% free. It's a little slow right now, but things will start picking up and becoming a little more consistent. Maxwell has had some really great stuff going up, and I know some other people are working on some really good stuff. A little teaser, Corey has Scotty Middleton piece coming sooner rather than later. So keep an eye out for that. You can follow us across all socials at No Ceilings NBA and on YouTube at No Ceilings TV. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and 5-star rating. Until next time, see ya.